After all the chaos, backstabbing, and pure drama, the Traitors US Season 3 has come to its climax. While the final had a small surprise, it ultimately left me feeling underwhelmed. Episode 10 left us with the cliffhanger of the revote to see if either Danielle or Ivar were banished after tying in the first vote. Brittany's reaction to Dolores sticking to her vote with Ivar and her body language before the end of episode 10 was pointing towards Brittany voting for Danielle. We waited a whole week to find out Brittany had indeed voted Danielle out.
Did it to me again.
No, I didn't.
A vote that shocked everyone at the round table. There was so much beyond the game at stake. But putting that aside, the switch that Brittany made based on what she thought was a signal by Dolores' eye movement was the pivotal moment. Every time the camera cut to Gabby, I wondered if she was thinking either Brittany, Dolores, or both of them were traitors. She was watching the both of them very carefully. In another turn of events, Brittany won the power of the seer. This had certainly been an eventful start of the episode for her. I thought this should have been shown at the end of episode 10, but as the episode progressed, I was starting to understand why production made the choices it did. With a traitor becoming the seer and no murder, the only way to have a cliffhanger was to delay the results of the banishment vote. Though Brittany didn't know, Dylan said to the others that if Brittany is a traitor, she'll say whoever she picks is a traitor. I thought with whoever she did pick, the only chance she had was to say they were a faithful. The question was who. Brittany picked Gabby, and I instantly thought Brittany's plan was to frame Gabby. So when it came to breakfast, I was nervous for Gabby and Brittany too. If Brittany tried to frame Gabby, it had the potential to blow up both of their games. With Brittany telling the others that Gabby's a faithful, it gave an excellent opportunity for Brittany to win unless the faithfuls think both Brittany and Gabby are traitors, which crossed Dylan's mind. There was talk about what Danielle had said at the round table to Brittany. Regardless of the fact we the viewers know that Brittany is a traitor, I thought Brittany and Danielle's history would have been discussed with others during the game. I thought Danielle could have easily said the same thing if Brittany was a faithful, or they both were. As the episode was progressing, I was trying to work out what combinations would end the game together. Something I had been trying to work out since the previous episode. Dylan in the past was suspicious of Gabby and is now suspicious of Brittany. Dolores and Ivar are suspicious of each other. These were all things Brittany could use. She could also use Dylan's relationships with 3 out of the 4 traitors, something that has never been called out at the round table. At the end of the mission, I was thinking, is that it? It was too short and easy. It turns out it wasn't. I'm sorry I doubted production by thinking they just needed to solve a couple of clues. The final prize pot they were all vying for ended up being $204,300. Brittany was working hard on Dolores and Gabby to get their votes for Dylan. It was a last-ditch attempt that had the potential to actually work. For a moment I thought it might have worked on at least one of them. When it was Brittany versus Dylan at the round table, I couldn't help but draw comparisons to when Dylan went for Bob the Drag Queen in episode 3. Like then, it was a meek display compared to his opponent. I didn't think Dylan would win the argument, but it would be a case of would Brittany do too much to show she might in fact be a traitor. Despite a valiant fight, Brittany was banished with 4 votes, but she left a lot of doubt about Dylan, which could have affected his chance of winning. As we headed to the Fire of Truth, I felt even though there were 4 faithfuls, there was no way the 4 would end up sharing the prize pot. There was too much suspicions on them all to do so. Oh, how wrong I was. I thought with Dylan voting to end the game, it might make him look more suspicious. If you remember, he had been suspicious of Gabby for quite a while, and even thought Brittany could be lying about Gabby's role in the game. With Ivar also choosing to end the game, if I was in Dolores or Gabby's position, I would be perplexed that the 2 people that suspected me for quite some time are suddenly confident I'm a faithful, despite not knowing if Brittany was a faithful or a traitor. The switch up by those to suddenly trust the ones they were suspicious of did make me wonder if there had been some sort of interference in the game, but that was just for a brief moment. It was all too tidy and wrapped up in a bow, so the skeptic in me did come out. With all 4 of them voting to end the game, that was it. The Fire of Truth was just a dud. The excitement and drama really left with Brittany and Danielle. Again, now I understand why episode 10 had the cliffhanger it did. I did feel a little disappointed at the end of it. I liked the drama and the tension. I watch the traitors for its treachery. Sometimes I want the faithfuls to win, and other times I want the traitors to win. The odd time it's neither. So it did feel like a boring end to go with 1 or 2 boring players winning. I say that because the edits throughout the season were not kind to some of them, so they may have actually been a delight. I shall never know. The final episode could have had so much potential as being more dramatic, but the seer power ended up doing nothing to change the game, and we didn't even get anyone voted out at the Fire of Truth. I do wonder if anything would have changed if Brittany chose Dylan or Dolores with her seer power. 4 faithfuls sharing the prize isn't a common thing, so that was the only surprise. Looking back at the season as a whole, and the moments that I enjoyed the most involved the traitors and their battle against each other, though they really shouldn't have taken each other out. The 4 original traitors handed the win to the faithfuls on a silver platter. Rob really started the domino effect by going after Bob the drag queen based on one comment. Danielle sowing seeds about Carolyn set another chain of events. The move to get Bob and Carolyn banished inadvertently got Rob and Danielle banished. This is a lesson to future traitors. Don't go so early and hard on getting another traitor banished, and don't keep the most faithful in the game. You're more likely to be voted out than the most faithful are. As Brittany said in her commentary, Danielle should have got rid of Dylan earlier. On the faithful side, the edit wasn't kind to a lot of the faithfuls, with some of them seeming boring and at times non-existent. Tom was a surprisingly entertaining part of the show, as well as Gabby's commentary, and I can't forget the capitulation of Wes at the round table. I think if Ian was in the game longer, she would have given us more than some of the others that lasted longer did. With Dolores, Dylan, Gabby and Ivar winning, it means for the first time, no gamers has won the US version. The faithfuls are now 2-1 up. Now I'm off to find myself another version to watch. Until next time.